All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto the four elect tabernacle of David scattered abroad across the four corners of the earth. Now, y'all see is what a few days and went by, this man being in office, and he's already showing his ass. He's showing out. And you just have to know he was gonna be on some bullshit. When he put all these pro-Zionists and actual Amalekites, within his administration. All right. And now you're seeing this, quick transition, all right, where he's just signing everything away. And a lot of these so-called white supremacists, these proud patriot Edomites, they already are you could say that right now they believe that they won. And this is like a victory, that they don't realize is gonna go completely wrong. Now, what I'm gonna show in this video, it all ties in together. It's once you conclude, after you analyze everything, you'll see that this devil, he has not changed one bit. This is basically what they've been doing, since forever. So now, Trump is in, and one of the major things he just done was he signed the executive orders to start pushing out, all the so-called illegals. And we know what they mean by illegal, because he's not specifically targeting, these people coming in from foreign countries like, European countries, even African countries. He's not targeting them, East Asian countries. He's specifically targeting the tribes. Are you so-called Hispanics, Latinos? If you came from south of the border, then you're who he's targeting. And they got ICE all throughout the country, making moves, doing raids, targeting specifically brown people. And us, us in the know, we know that's, we know what it really is all about. All right. Esau's been afraid for the longest of being outpopulated by the so-called black and brown race, because they've been in numbers been diminishing. A lot of them, more of them are dying than being born. So Esau's been afraid for so long of being outnumbered in his own country, which was not his country to begin with. It was taken, all right, by the force of the sword, by violence, which it tells you that in Micah 2, that they covered fields, they take them by violence, they oppress a man in his home, even a man in his heritage. All right, so anyway, you see this in the head. This is Yahoo News. Excluding Indians, Trump admin questions Native Americans' birthright citizenship in court. Now, we all know that Gad and Reuben were here first before anybody. So that means that they were born, or even though everybody on earth at one point in time uh, they came over here initially, by travel, by vessels. But we know that the Western world or the New World wasn't inherited until Gad and Reuben and them came over here. But before that, it was a massive land filled with resources that even in the scriptures and biblical history, you had Solomon, who had a navy who would come over here once every 3 years to, pick up resources, ivory, peacocks, gold, etc. So, it was all, the known world was always known, but it wasn't inhabited. Mankind didn't dwell here, and we understood that. Even going back to the conquest in 1492, they showed you in the movie where they was able to find out about America through Prophet Ezra, because it's stated in Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, that the northern tribes, they would leave their captivity in Assyria, and they would come over to a land called Arsaris. It's like your Arsarith, which I believe in the Hebrew is a Achar Ratazah, which means another land. And it was said to be America. And that's even in a Jewish encyclopedia. So we all know, according to the history, who was here first. And now this devil, Nero, he has his administration questioning the citizenship of Gad, who was already over here way before these devils came over here and colonized. So this man he's lost his rocks, man. He's showing his ass right now. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna read some of this, and then I want to bring some other things as it pertains to this whole topic. All right, you're gonna see that this man has been, he's been a plunderer and a colonizer, for a long time. And like the scriptures say in Habakkuk, the world's gonna take up a taunting proverb and say, "Woe unto him which increaseth that which is not his." And this is what he's been doing all along. So it says, in the Trump administration's arguments defending his order to suspend birthright citizenship, the Justice Department called into question the citizenship of Native Americans born in the United States, citing a 19th century law that excluded Native Americans from birthright citizenship. This is after they allegedly then had these treaties with them, even though they broke all of them. And they still celebrate Thanksgiving to this day. When we call it Thanksgiving or Thanks-taking, because that's basically what happened. All right. And, they set up the British colonies in the East Coast, and then they just continued to extend their territory and was pushing Gad, further west. And, y'all know the history. It was a lot of robbery, a lot of, treachery, grape, genocide. That's what it took, for them to get this land in their possession. And now you want to talk about questioning their birthright citizenship when they were already here. And we can't forget about the Indian Removal Act. Mr. Indian Killer. So if this gets considered, they're gonna lose it. And we know the prophecy about Gad, that a troop would overcome them, but at the last, Gad would overcome, at the last. So this is all going to stir up the tribes, man. It says, in a case on Trump's birthright citizenship executive order coming out of Washington, Justice Department attorneys quote the 14th Amendment, which reads that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside, and hang their one of their arguments on the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Under the plain terms of the clause, birth in the United States does not by itself entitle a person to citizenship. The person must also be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. The following reads. The Justice Department then goes on to cite the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which predates the 14th Amendment by 2 years. The Justice Department attorneys specifically cite a section of the act that notes that all persons born in the United States and not subject to any foreign power, excluding Indians not taxed, are hereby declared to be citizens of the United States. And this is what they found. All right, now mind you, it was constant wars with Gad. All right, and they don't even tell you about Gadites that they was enslaving. They actually enslaved certain Gadites and was, turning some of the tribes against each other, having them capture one another. It was wicked, man. And plus they posed Gad as a threat because Gad was known to fight back. So the Gadites that were, living separate from this man's jurisdiction, living on their own hand, living in their own land, and they had their own water reserve. They had, the buffaloes, and that wouldn't concede. They was considered excluded. So if you was, born to families that go back to, those tribes, they're questioning if you should even be considered for a birthright citizenship. So this man he's showing you that he's the devil that the Bible speaks of. If not, where in who is he? All right. So let me start this real quick. And this is what it says in the NLT. This is Job 24:2. It says, evil people steal land by moving the boundary markers. They steal livestock and put them in their own pastures. Esau, he pulls the ultimate jack move on the entire world. Going back to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Woe to him, that work evil upon their beds when the morning is light. They practice it because it is the power of their hand, and they covet fields and take them by force, take them by violence. And then also, matter of fact, let's go to it. I'm gonna just go to it. Habakkuk 2. And it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long unto him that ladeth himself with thick clay? Which is debt, right? And the bankers, they done made themselves rich through this banking system. And that's how they was able to monopolize and take over basically all the world, right? And I'm going to show you also, because it's a movie clip on Instagram, and I don't know the name of the movie. Maybe a brother that's watching might be familiar with it and can tell me in the comments. But you're gonna see how the land of Israel, We know that it didn't come into fruition, talking about the state of Israel, until 1948. But if you look at old world maps, the map was very different. And the state of Israel wasn't recognized as a state back then, obviously. All right. That's because these devils, they didn't, wherever they went, they went and stole and took, lands. All right. And if you go back to an interview that this guy, Lord Jacob Rothschild, did, because he was one of the recent Rothschilds that pass away. He admitted that it was through his family that basically financed the facilitation of the so-called Jewish state. All right, where those small hats would be promised land in Palestine. All right, and they basically engineered World War I. All right, and when the Brits were in trouble, when they was fighting the Germans, they brought the U.S. into the war, and that assured their victory over Germany. All right, and then they was able to take the land of Palestine and give Amalek the land, and they set it up through the Balfour Declaration, the first one in 1917. All right, so that's how these devils was able to get that land over there. Okay, so they got both the Holy Land and the Americas through the same fashion. It was through war, it was through violence. Taking a land that people already dwelt in, and then want to deem everybody else illegal once they put their pen to the land and claim it their own. Like we're the only ones viable for inherited right. So this man, he's showing himself. So it says Habakkuk 2:7, it says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty spoils unto them? So the world's gonna get sick and tired eventually. Now let's watch this, and then I want to get the other clip that I want to show.
The map of the Holy Land that was drawn in 1709 is titled Canaan, Palestine, or the Holy Land.
Nice sucking up.
Thank you, sir.
Look at these topographical details. Seriously, I'm going to have this framed. This is great.
If you leave it here, I'll send it out.
I'm going to play with it some more. Hey, you want to see something? Charlie gave this to me. It's a map of the Holy Land drawn in 1709. He got it at a flea market. It's hand-colored, copper engraved. You're going to put it in the outer office.
This outer office?
Yeah, no. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because some people are going to find it offensive.
Why?
Doesn't recognize Israel.
It was drawn in 1709.
Yeah.
There was no Israel.
Right.
Israel wouldn't happen for another 250 years.
Yeah.
So what's the problem with the map?
Some people are going to find it offensive.
Why?
It doesn't recognize Israel.
Take lunch, would you? Wait. I want to show you this great map Charlie found.
Sir, I know that. You can't put it up in the West Wing.
Teacher.
It doesn't recognize Israel.
There was no Israel in 1709.
That's right.
So it's not on the map.
Which is what some people are going to find offensive.
That's ridiculous.
You know what would be great?
If I put it someplace else?
Yes.
Leo has, in what used to be his house when he was married, a map of the United States. The first third of it is the 13 original colonies. The second third...
So this is how we connected. Same thing. The map was different, prior to Esau extending and pushing westward, through his colonization, removing basically land boundaries, through violence. He did the same thing. The same thing he did here, he did over there. It's the same history. And what they're doing now with Gaza now. This is what they did to, Gad and Reuben here centuries ago. So this all ties in together, and yet this devil wants to deem who's legal and who isn't, who has the right to be in a land that he don't even own himself, that didn't belong to him or his ancestors, a half a millennium ago. So, come on, man.
Second third of it is the French territory of Louisiana, and the third is Mexico. In this map of the United States, there is not a single state. That's because when this map was made, there was no United States. I am the president of the United States, and I'm not offended by it.
Well, you're bigger than 10 men, sir. What do you say we put it out of the way?
I'm having it enlarged and bolting it to the hood of my limo. They don't want us to put up our map, Charlie. They're Philistines in the fight for freedom, but that doesn't bother us, does it? Huh? Never mind.
It's not like I'm agreeing with the people who are going to be offended. It just...
And this is fair use, by the way, fair use. All right. Just for educational purposes. But, they're putting it right in your face, man. All right. We know that the current state over there was a creation. All right. They didn't go and get it because it was inherited, going back to the covenant, all right, of the promise, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. It has nothing to do with that. They just insisted on taking that land so that they can basically have global domination. And the ideal goes back to a man named Theodore Herzl. You can look him up. The Rothschilds, they looked up to him and studied his ideology, and they brought it into fruition because they had the finances for it. So the same people that took over and got the state of Israel, they also got Babylon. All right. And they used the just like they used the Brits to get that over there, they used the Brits to get this over here. All right. This is what the beast came out of the bottomless pit and did. And this is the history, man. But Trump got these devils feeling real proud. All right. So that's why I want to bring this out. And then let me get this one now. Homie here was cooking.
This is, why are we so worried about getting rid of all of the Mexicans or Hispanics that are quote unquote here, if they're illegal or not? At the end of the day, many of them are paying taxes. Many of them have been here for generations and decades. And Matt, trying to get rid of 4 or 5 or 3 million people all at once is not going to work. We don't have the resources.
We don't have to do it all at once.
And secondly, Matt, listen, there is no such thing as an illegal Mexican immigrant coming into Texas because they're only coming home. Texas, Arizona, and California was stole from the Mexicans.
Don't start
this
that nonsense.
All belongs to them. So they're only coming home. And then here it is, you white folks stole the land from the Indians, but yet you're the natural, real illegal immigrant.
So let's start with the things you said that are already wrong. First of all, they're coming here. They're not paying any taxes. You're telling me they're paying taxes? They're not paying taxes because nobody knows who the heck they are. No, they're not paying any taxes.
Matt, when they buy a product, they pay a tax on it.
Let's continue.
When they buy a car, they pay a tax on it.
You come into this country illegally. That is a law that you're breaking, and that's why they have
the fucking hypocrisy, man. The fucking hypocrisy. Well, how did y'all get over here? What did you do when you came here? And the way you treating the tribes, they didn't treat you like that when you came over here, which they should have the moment you stepped your stinking ass boots on ground. This devil right here, man. It's all right though, because we got 1,000 years, to get everything off. We gonna have our time, man. Let these devils, they're gonna have their last little bit of time left. Because time is ticking out, right? We're gonna have our time. All right. A reckoning is definitely coming.
They have to be sent back to wherever they came from. They want to come through the front door. That is the correct way to come in. And the city of Houston has to stop allowing this, or we're never going to get them to stop coming in here. Look, that's what we got to do. Follow the law.
But Matt, where is the compassion that the indigenous Indians had for white people in this country?
Why do you keep going backwards?
They let you all come in.
What are you going?
And that's where they messed up. But I mean, it was obviously it had to happen for prophecy's sake. But scriptures say, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And they came, trying to behave humble, but they was on some snake shit. They came over here with an agenda, with a scheme. They had, different, papacies. They was getting granted permission by the royalty over there, the king and queen of England and Portugal, to come over here and take land. So they felt like they had the right to take it, especially if the people that were already there aren't Christian. They did it in the name of Christianity. Vocab. So, through those papacies, they was able to come and remove landmarks and take inheritance from people. All right. And it's all coming out, man. It's all coming out.
You going
and you came in and raised a whole lot of hell.
Don't start.
Trump
Trump
called
bringing up
Mexicans
history and try and
rapists. He
explain
called
what's
them
going on
criminals.
today.
Trump called the Mexicans illegal criminals coming into America. Well, the biggest illegal criminal ever come into America was white people.
So you don't give a damn if people break into this country.
I don't give a damn.
I wonder what's going to happen when they come to rob your house.
I don't give a damn about hypocrites who came here illegally and stole all of this and now want to blame them before only coming back home. To all of the Mexicans, don't worry about this. Just keep having babies, and in 30 years, all these white folks will be under your control.
To Americans, let's stand.
And that's exactly their biggest fear. Being outpopulated. All right. Hey, man, that day is coming, man. If only they knew. Right now, they on a high horse. They got, Nero Trump. He's very proud and arrogant. The scriptures say pride goes before destruction and a haughty look before a fall. So, this man, he's on his way down, okay? And they're gonna fall hard. But just the sheer hypocrisy. All right. And the more truth that came out, the more this devil started fuming. All right, because it's the truth. So this is why I want to, play both of these clips, because it all ties in together. All right. You don't own any of these lands. You stole it. You took it. All right. So going back here to Habakkuk 2, it says, verse 8, it says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land and of the city and of all that dwell therein. It says, woe unto him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people. Yeah, a lot of slaughter, a lot of wars. All right. And that blood, is tallied up for the last days. That's why Yahushua, when he comes back, it says, who is this that cometh from Edom with thy garments from Basra? With his garment, looking like it's been dipped in blood, like he treading a wine press. It says, and has sinned against thy soul. We jump to 12. It says, I'll read through. It says, for the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity. Let me jump down to verse 16. It says, thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And that's what you see happening. Okay. Esau being exposed. And before the Lord takes you down, he exposes you first. You know, he's uncovering the leg, making bare the thigh. All right. And showing everybody your shame, because he's getting ready to completely destroy you, because you're guilty as charged. All right. And going back to this precept, you know, there were several laws on this. Deuteronomy 19 and 14, it says, when you arrive in a land the Lord your power is giving you as your special possession, you must never steal anyone's land by moving the boundary markers your ancestors set up to mark their property. And they don't show you that these devils don't follow the law. Okay. They're the wicked. Deuteronomy 27 and 17, cursed is anyone who steals property from a neighbor by moving a boundary marker, and all the people will reply, Amen. Proverbs 22 and 28, don't cheat your neighbors by moving the ancient boundary markers set up by previous generations. That's why maps continue to change throughout the course of time, since, you know, there are inquisitions in the world, colonizing everything. Because, you know, he didn't took their lands and then he didn't named it after his own. Pursuant to Psalms 49 and 11, they name them after their own names. And they think that the world's going to continue as it is, you know, from here on out. But you're going to go right into perdition. All right. You cannot go past those boundaries that the Lord set for you, that he appointed. That has appointed the boundaries that he cannot pass. So 250 years is usually the limitation of an empire before it starts to go down. And, you know, we're there. All right. We're damn near there, man. So, yeah, man. I'm going to end the lesson right there, and hopefully y'all were edified. I'm going to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Shai. And to the next lesson, Shalom.